The end of Elul, beginning of Tishrey. We don't see a lot of flowers around in nature. And that makes sense because we haven't, for the most part, have had rain for around half a year now. And plants need a lot of energy to be able to grow flowers. Now, flowers are very important for plants to be able to continue, right? They need their pollen to spread. But there is a plant that defies them all. And despite not having rain, it stores its energy just for this moment. And that is this guy over here, the Chazal, also known as a squill. This happens to be right in my neighborhood, but this grows all over the place. Look at this. This is amazing. And in addition, if that's not enough, so Chazal say about this plant that it cuts off the legs of robbers and bandits, which is amazing. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, how does he do it? Why does he do it? But I want you to think about this for a second. If the plant needs to spread its pollen to be able to survive, then this guy, the Chazal, the squill, he cornered the market. There's no one else around to compete with him. And here, oh, this actually, I see a little bug on this flower right now. See, there he is. That's our star. And that's going to spread the pollen. Not only that, but in order to make sure that it doesn't all bloom in one day, sorry for all the noise, there's a street right behind me. If it all blooms in one day, then either the plants can come out that day, or maybe they'll, get lazy or call in sick or whatever, take the day off, and then it, put all its eggs in one barrel, or one basket, whatever you call it. So what it does is it has this long stalk of hundreds of flowers. These are the flowers that already bloomed. These are today's flowers, right? A couple dozen around here, or a few dozen, something like that. And then there's still a few more, right? A couple more days left in here for it to bloom and for bugs to be able to come and for it to pollinate. So it's pretty amazing. Now, why do Chazal say that this thing cuts off the legs of bandits? What does that have to do with it? So most of the year, you won't see this plant the way that it looks right now. It's a really cool plant. Again, here's one that's a little earlier, so it's still got, the flowers are lower down. Also a bug on it, pollinating it. And these come up only in Elul. And again, it's flowering in the beginning of Tishrey, but most of the year this whole stalk is not even here. And after the stalk will break off and usually fly away, and you'll be left with these green leaves down at the bottom, which today are dried up by now, and that'll stay for a couple months, let's say. And then after that, there's basically no sign of it left. In this case, again, those dried leaves are still there, but sometimes those blow away too. And there's basically no sign that this plant is here. All that's left of it is a bulb, like an onion, in the ground. And that onion is quite poisonous as well. You can't even see it, but it's in there, it's in the ground. And that'll be all that's there. And you don't even see any sign usually that the plant is here. Now, people used to plant this on the edges of their fields. In fact, it says that Yoshua planted it on the borders of the Nachalot, right, between the different tribes. But people would also plant it on the edges of their fields. And then what happens is, let's say one guy decides that he really needs a little extra space, and he starts encroaching on his neighbor's field, which is obviously gezel. That's totally not allowed, and it's not okay. But there are people who would do that anyway. And so the owner of the neighboring field might not even notice. And months can go by, and this goes on, and the guy thinks he got away with it. And then all of a sudden, Elul time comes around, and Tishrey, time for tshuva, and all of a sudden, these stalks come popping up, and the owner of the field, the rightful owner, says, hey, wait a second, you're on my property. You stole some of my field along with your field. You moved the border. And that's how this plant basically, so to speak, cuts off the legs of the Ganavim. It doesn't give them a way to stand. It doesn't give them a way to try to steal their neighbor's property, which is really cool. Again, this is just another sign of how nature is, in Israel, of course, is basically the holidays coming to life. So, of course, this time of year, you're going to start seeing soon sukkahs built all over the place. You're going to be hearing, you hear shofarot, shofars all over the place. The songs and the tunes of the Yamim Noraim are everywhere in the supermarkets. So, of course, all those things in the culture and the daily life, for sure you see the Jewish holidays, no question. But there's another thing, and that's nature itself. The land of Israel celebrates each Chag and spreads the message of each Chag. And in this case, the month of Elul and the beginning of Tishrey can very much be symbolized in this plant that comes up now, the Chatzav, or the squill.